And now, more of the Business Rundown with Chad Kraft.
Welcome back to the Business Rundown. I am your host, Chad Kraft. So one thing that's unique about my business, especially because it is a marketing agency, is that it is almost entirely built up on referrals. Now, it wasn't always like that, so I'm going to share a little bit about my referral journey. So it started with cold calling. That was my main way of getting business, cold calling, and then these fall in your lap referrals whenever I was freelancing. And then whenever I decided to start my agency, turn my business into an agency and grow it larger, I knew I needed to change something, because when you're cold calling, you go through these feast and famine moments, and you call until you get a sale, and then you have to work through that sale. Especially in my business, because you can only handle so many projects at one time when you're a solopreneur. So I was going through that. I was cold calling, and I was like, this isn't going to work any longer. And I have a friend. His name's Tommy Sandvik. He's a high performance coach and referral trainer, and he works with a company called Referco. Referco is owned by a man named Michael J. Mayer. He is the most referred real estate agent in the country. And this man gets over 500 referrals a year that turn into sales. So think about a realtor doing 500 sales a year. Ridiculous. And he has a team, of course. He's not handling every one of those transactions, but he does massive numbers. And he wrote a book called The 7 Levels of Communication: Go from Relationships to Referrals. So Tommy handed me this book and said, here, you should read it. You should never cold call again. And me not wanting to cold call again, I said, all right. So I read it. I went through it, and I was like, this is a pretty good book. It's a super easy read. It's a parable, essentially. And it's a pretty good story. It's very applicable to real estate agents and mortgage lenders, but any business can apply it. Any business. So after I read the book, I was like, okay, well, now I need to figure out how to implement this into my business. So they have an annual summit every year called Referral Mastery Summit. So I attended Referral Mastery Summit and learned a ton, took a lot of notes. And then eventually I became what is called a CRT, and a CRT stands for Certified Referral Trainer. So it means I'm certified on the 7L curriculum to teach it to other businesses, other real estate agents, mortgage lenders, to grow their business on referrals. And doing all that, it ended up quadrupling my 2019 income on referrals, all on referrals. And so now my business is primarily referral. I do some ads, specifically, with this station. You might have heard Florida Man Radio ads for Imphasis. And now what's really cool is I'm coming full circle. So I'm a certified referral trainer, and now I'm speaking at this year's Referral Mastery Summit in October. So that's just how full circle I went from cold calling to referral generation, and helping others build their businesses on referrals. Now, there are a ton of ways to get referrals, and I'm not going to share every strategy in the world, but I'm going to share a few. One of my favorite is appreciation. Now, you might be like, that doesn't sound like a strategy. Oh, but it is. Appreciation is an amazing tool because, so what Michael says, he says, what you appreciate appreciates. So if you think about it as a house, as a house gets older, or eventually it appreciates and your house is worth more money, right? And it finances, whatever. I'm not a CPA, I'm not a real estate agent, so when it comes to that sort of appreciation, I know just a little bit. But over time, it goes up in value, right? So if you appreciate people, they're going to go up in value, right? So if somebody gives you a referral and you show appreciation for that, that relationship is going to go up in value. And if somebody feels appreciated, they're going to want to give you another referral. Now, don't just do it for referrals. Don't just be like, oh, thank you, and you have to actually mean it. It has to come from a good place, because people can see if you're being true or not. They can see if it's fake. So some great ways to show appreciation is send thank you notes. In 7L, they call them, in 7L is the abbreviated term for 7 levels of communication. They call them power notes, and there are 7 steps to a power note. I don't remember all of them, but one of them is write in blue ink, use unbranded cards. Blue ink is so that they can tell that it hasn't been printed. Because if it's in black ink, sometimes you're like, well, was that printed in just like a handwriting font? I don't think that would be a problem with my handwriting because it's terrible, but some people have really nice handwriting that could be a font, and so you want to make sure. Also write like upwards to the right, because then it also looks like you're not, it's not printed. And what's the book called? There's a book about handwriting, and it's a ridiculous thing to have a book about, but some of the most successful people write upwards to the right, and it's just a good habit to get in, because eventually you'll get in that successful mindset. And my favorite part of a power note is the PS. Right? You add a PS at the end. My go-to PS is text me when you get this, because then it puts them back into communication with me. And I say, hey, I just want to thank you again for that referral. It means so much to me. And then, if you have an event coming up or anything like that, invite them. It's a great excuse to invite somebody to somewhere, because that's the next part of appreciation is events, or, we'll touch on events. So people love getting invitations to things. So if you invite them to that, oftentimes it's the invitation itself is more powerful than the event. Have you ever had a friend, let's say you're in grade school or your kids are in elementary school, and somebody in their class had a birthday and you weren't invited, or your kid wasn't invited? Now, how did that make you feel as a kid, or as a parent seeing that? How did that make you feel? Probably not very happy. You probably had a conversation with somebody and tried to figure it out. The power is in the invitation. And it's an excuse to communicate with them, to talk to them and say, hey, by the way, I have this event coming up. I would love to have you there. I'd love to have you there. Show that you appreciate them. You appreciate their presence. And then you can show appreciation when they show up to the event. Man, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so thankful you're here. And then after the event, man, thank you so much for coming to my event. That was awesome. It was great to hang out with you. I enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time. And even if they don't come to the event, you can still communicate with them, still show appreciation. Regular communication is key. So you need to constantly be communicating with your audience and with your community, with your sphere, with your team. Now, a tip that I want to give, because a lot of people do this. Never, ever, ever ask for a referral in person. You can ask for referrals, but if you do it electronically. Because if you ask somebody for referrals, be like, hey, like, you haven't ever given me a referral. Can you give me a referral? Puts pressure on them, and it makes them uncomfortable. And I'll tell you, if you ever ask me in person to give you a referral, that is the last time we are talking. You invite me somewhere, I'm like, nope, he's going to ask me for a referral. I'm not going there. Why would I go there to be ambushed with a referral? Referral question. I'd love to be ambushed with a referral, but... So, if you're listening this long, I think you probably want to know the number one strategy for getting referrals. It is hands down the best strategy for getting referrals. And what that is, talking and teaching about referrals. So that's all you have to do is talk and teach about referrals. When you teach on referrals, when you talk on referrals, you become an authority in that space. And you're automatically more referable. If you're talking about referrals, people will see that and be like, oh, well, they must know a lot about referrals. They must get a lot of referrals. If they get a lot of referrals, I want to send referrals to them. So talk about referrals, learn about referrals, read books about referrals. There's a ton of them. John Jantsch has a referral called The Referral Engine. Michael's book, 7 Levels of Communication. There are millions of books on referrals. Those are two great ones that I enjoy. Fun fact that I learned. So you probably don't know who John Jantsch is. If you do, that's awesome. He's the founder of a company called Duct Tape Marketing. They're a marketing consulting firm, and they help other marketing agencies build their business with the Duct Tape Marketing Consulting Network. But John wrote a book that inspired 7L, which I think is insane. And the book that he wrote is not in publication anymore. But it's just an amazing coincidence that 2 of my favorite referral books have some sort of relationship there. So if you are interested in referral coaching, I want to introduce you to my friends at Referco. They have a program called Catalyst, and it's a very easy program to get started with to start generating referrals for your business. So if you go to businessrundown.com, there is a button that says sign up for referral training, and this is the same program I went through. If you go there, you'll read my success story. You'll be able to see that. You'll read success stories of others. But more information is there at businessrundown.com, and then you need to click the button that says sign up for referral training. So if you want to get more referrals, the easiest way is to talk about referrals. And then I also recommend reading those 2 books, The Referral Engine by John Jantsch and The 7 Levels of Communication, Go from Relationships to Referrals by Michael J. Mayer.